Hey y'all, welcome to day 7 of Mel's Competition Chronicles. As always, thank you so much for joining me. You will notice I'm wearing red today. I have my red light on. It is National Wear Red Day, February 7th, 2025. This is to bring awareness to heart disease and cardiovascular health. And this is a topic that is so important to me for several reasons. One, the obvious, I'm a health and fitness coach. So of course it's important. It's important to me and it's important for my clients. Another reason is because I have a family history of heart disease, and my father had heart disease, his father had heart disease. And I've actually had a scare myself. So we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to talk about what my cardio looks like on prep right now, what it looked like before I was on prep, and what it should look like for you if you are a woman over 40. Obviously, it's dependent upon your goals, but we're going to touch on that just a little bit. So starting with my family history, my father had heart disease. He had a couple heart attacks. He also had a cardiac arrest at age 54, and a woman whose father has heart disease is at a higher risk. So of course I want to do whatever I can to lower my risk. And sometimes you can do everything right and genetically be predisposed and can still end up with cardiovascular issues. Which brings me to my little scare. So a couple years ago, I was working for a dental group, and we put on a one-day conference where we brought in some doctors from Washington State to talk about the link between dental health and arterial health and, cardiovascular health. And at the end of this conference, they did a carotid artery scan. Now, I was on the fence about it. I was like, maybe I should because of my family history, but I was already on my health and fitness journey, so I didn't think I had anything to be worried about, but I was there, it was happening, I was like, what the heck? So I was the last person in line to get my carotid artery scanned, and there were only about 7 of us in line. So I struck up a conversation with the woman doing the ultrasound. We had a good conversation, built a little rapport while she was scanning other people. And then it was my turn. I got in the chair. There was nobody else left in line, so it was just her and I. And we got to chatting, and I noticed that it was taking her a little bit longer than it took the other people that were in the chair before me. So I was like, do you see something? And she was like, no, everything's fine. But the way she said it, I could tell there was something going on. And so she scanned a little bit more, and I was like, I'm starting to get nervous. Can you tell me something? And she was like, well, I can't really diagnose, and I'm not really allowed to say anything. You will get your results back within 2 weeks, but I'm going to say you should probably make an appointment with a cardiologist before then. Of course, my heart dropped as she's scanning my carotid artery. I was like, can you give me any other information? Do you see a blockage? And she's like, well, I'm seeing something. That's all I can say. My husband had had a heart attack a few years earlier, and he had a really awesome cardiologist. So he reached out to his cardiologist. This was a Friday. He got me in on Monday. I had another scan, found out left carotid artery was 20% blocked. The good news was, because of my current lifestyle, it had already started to calcify, and the doctor said if I continued with my lifestyle, good nutrition, exercising regularly, then it would be nothing to worry about. But if I went back to my old lifestyle of being sedentary and being 50 pounds heavier, then I would probably be at risk for stroke, heart attack, possibly death. And that is one of the reasons why I live my life the way I do, just one of the reasons. So my cardio before I was on prep was 10,000 steps. If you are a woman over 40, your cardio is going to look very different than it did in your 20s and even in your 30s. No longer can you just hop on an elliptical or a Peloton or 3 HIIT classes a week or go out for a run every day. Now, if you are a runner and you've been doing that for 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, and that's your lifestyle and that's what you do for your mental health, I'm not here to tell you don't do that anymore. But high intensity cardio can do more harm than good. The best thing you can do for your cardiovascular health is walk. And to walk at a brisk pace, not stroll. Everyone talks about the arbitrary number of 10,000 steps. I don't think it's necessary to go for exactly 10,000 steps. I think if you're just starting out walking, start with 30 to 45 minutes at a good pace and increase from there. If you have a device to track your steps, that's great. Track your steps, and next week, try to get 100 more steps each day. And, the following week, increase it by another 50 or 100 and keep increasing until you get to a point where you feel that's your max or you don't have enough time to get any more steps in. And it doesn't have to be all in one walk. This is a culmination of all your efforts throughout the day. If you work a job where you're constantly on your feet and moving, you're going to get several thousand steps a day at work. Some people work a sedentary job and sit at a desk all day, so you're not getting those steps in throughout the day. So you may have to take several walks if you don't have time for one big block. But I can't mention walking without mentioning a weighted vest. Again, if you are a woman over 40, you should be walking with a weighted vest unless advised not to by a doctor. If you have knee pain, joint issues in your ankles or hips, then I would consult a doctor first. But if you don't have any joint pain, we can all benefit from wearing a weighted vest while walking. Not only are you getting extra resistance training in, and it's good for your posture, and it's good for bone density, it's good for so many things, but it also improves your cardiovascular health. But now that I'm on prep, cardio looks a little bit different. So my steps went from 10,000 a day down to 7,000 a day to preserve muscle mass, because there is a certain amount of muscle wasting the more cardio you do. Of course, we want to preserve muscle as much as we can in prep. So I'm doing 7,000 steps a day. And right now, my actual cardio on top of that is 5 sessions of 30 minutes, whether it's on the treadmill, on an incline at a good pace, whether it's the stair stepper or a bike. I want to keep my heart rate somewhere around between 130 and 150. So that is a little bit higher intensity cardio than my steps. So again, if you are just starting out and you are not in competition prep, get in as many steps as you can, 30 to 45 minutes. It can help to clear your head. It helps to shift your mood. It helps your cardiovascular health. It helps your posture. It helps your bone density. It helps so many things. Work your way up to between 8,000 and 12,000 steps. It depends on your goals. If your goals are fat loss, then obviously you're going to want to do more steps. But if it's just cardiovascular health, you want to try to hit a minimum of 8K steps, although that doesn't have to happen right from the beginning. Then, of course, resistance training is important too. So you want to add that into your routine. If you are on prep for competition, of course, you're already weight training. But if you are not competing, you should be lifting weights as well. Heart disease is preventable for most people and manageable with heart healthy habits, which includes a nutrient-dense diet, as well as your cardiovascular exercise and some strength training. So again, thank you for joining me on this journey. Until tomorrow.